Item 10C, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with West Valley Construction in the amount of $42,700 for excavating and capping sewer laterals, Glenview Fire Area, approving a construction budget of $53,375.
Honorable council members, this work is emergency work for health and safety reasons. As a result of the explosion, fire, and debris removal, the sewer laterals of the 35 homes demolished were damaged. Our sewer system is a gravity line, and our concern is that debris will reach the main and possible cause sewer overflow. To prevent the debris to reach the main, it is our intent to cap those laterals 1 feet from the curb. The city has an ongoing contract with West Valley, signed after a competitive bid process. They offering the best price among those contractors. And our comfort level is very high that asking them to provide us with a cost estimate, the city will receive the best price possible. They estimated the work for these 35 homes, the work will cost $43,000, and with 15% contingency, it is our estimation that this work will cost around $53,000.
All right, any
if
questions?
you have any questions.
Through the chair, you said this was a competitive, did I miss, I may have not heard you correctly. Did you say it was a competitive bid process or no?
Was a competitive bid process when our ongoing contractor was selected.
Okay, so, and I know it's a unique situation. We're in uncharted territory. Some of my questions or concern on items like this is, you know, how do we know we're getting the value for what the service we're being provided? Do we have staff that can also assist or do part of the work so that we don't have to go out? You know, I understand we're in uncharted territories, but I just want to know that how am I comparing this to some others? Because in essence, we didn't go through the normal bid process, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
For right now, for this specific task, for the city went through the bid process, selecting the contractor and entering in a ongoing on-call contract with this specific contractor. And at that time was a competitive process before the city entered in the contract. To answer more holistically your question, unfortunately, our resources are limited, and that's the reason why the city has this on-call ongoing contract to, in essence, augment our internal resources with this ongoing contract support whenever our internal resources is not available and cannot perform those absolutely needed work in our sewer system to manage our system, then this contractor will be called in. And our department is already behind as a result of this additional work needed to be done. And they did a great job having all of the sewers back in less than 3 days. But as a result of those additional, the impact already caused on the department, certainly the department cannot manage this additional work only just with our internal resources. That would have a reasonable impact on the management of our system and maybe causing more sewer overflow on, or would have much more negative impact on our system. Why I have a very high comfort level that this is a very good price provided by our contractor is that initially the department started to discuss actually with Car Recycle, and the reason why I'm coming this late to you with this request, that our initial intent was to include this work in the debris removal. That was the initial intent, to incorporate that in the overall contract. At the end, the state did not agree to include this work in the overall contract, But based on their initial estimate, and I don't know exactly the dollar, but based on my discussion with the county health official, their estimate was much, much higher than our estimate received from our own contract.
I appreciate your answers, and I guess just going forward, it's important for me to know that we are looking into our own staff, if resources are available and the talent is there, that we utilize
Absolutely.
those, that we're able to compare competitive bid process so that we know we're getting the best bid, because out there today, people obviously are hungry for work. But your comments to me are that we don't have the staffing level at this time in order to meet this need that we have up there, and your belief is that this is a competitive price that is, for what we're getting here, 42 or whatever thousand, that's the appropriate rate for that work.
Yes.
Through the chair.
Yes, Michael?
Normally, the section of the laterals that we're talking about would be the responsibility of the property owner.
Correct.
I'm wondering, so in this case, do we need permission from the property owners to go in and do this, or is it something that's part of the cleanup effort that's been agreed to?
The only reason why the city is really doing this for health and safety reasons.
Absolutely.
And to protect our system. In any normal instances, and that's why that was the reason behind trying to incorporate this in this whole debris removal, that car recycling already had that right of entry for each property and would have been a easier situation to address. But them not agreeing to incorporate in their contract, now the decision was to cap the lateral 1 feet behind the curb. That assumes that is still the city in our right of way. That basically, to protect our system, the city will excavate at 1 feet from the curb, which is still public right of way, without to necessitate any right of entry from anybody, and will cap the lateral at that location.
Okay. And I know our experience with laterals in other parts of the city have shown that some of those tend to be in bad condition. And I'm wondering, it looks like you have close to a 25% contingency on the price that's quoted here. And I'm wondering, do you anticipate that because of what we've seen in other parts of the city, that perhaps those laterals might be in such bad state that we can't cap them?
That's why you are absolutely right. That's why our contingency given is the highest in very unusual circumstances. Our department proposed 25%, but you are right. Nobody really is aware of the level of destruction with the debris removal, how badly, exactly how was your earlier comment, in what shape those sewer lateral in the grounds are. And certainly it's our assumption they can be kept closer to the sidewalk. But if they will not be able to cap at that location, then they will have to go further in the sidewalk. But our comfort is very reasonable that they will be able to do the work without the needed 25%. But just managing unknown, that's why it's our recommendation to add that 25% contingency.
Okay. And my last question, there's been some talk about possibly doing some changes in policies regarding cleanouts on the laterals. And I'm wondering if this work in any way helps or hinders what we may be doing in the future related to cleanouts in the laterals.
This is a emergency situation, and a emergency situation, emergency response to that emergency situation is certainly, I don't foresee that this emergency response will create a history in the city which would force our forward-looking policy in any direction. Right now, working with the city manager, the department is in the process of developing that letter of policy, how you just mentioned, and hopefully the department will be able to come back for your consideration, proposing some alternative in the next few months.
Okay, thank you.
Any comments or questions? Action?
Through the chair, I'll adopt the resolution after
Mr. Mayor,
comment.
before you act on the resolution,
Yes.
may I propose a very small wording addition
You may.
to the sixth whereas? And I will read you the additional language. Whereas the city, rather than will, due to the Glenview fire and resulting damage, must hire a contractor to excavate, et cetera, the sewer laterals. The purpose of this small change in the language to the resolution more clearly articulates that this is a direct fire-related situation and situates this in a more compelling manner to be one of those expenses that may ultimately be eligible for reimbursement.
Okay. Someone like to introduce the resolution with the
Prior-
change?
Yeah, just by reading is, I do have a question before I introduce it. Can you explain what Fund 190 is?
Well, I would actually, if I wasn't being, I was being overly picky to just say scratch that, whereas it's really meaningless. Fund 190 is the accounting mechanism that we've set up to identify and uniquely account for costs associated with the disaster response and recovery. It is not in any manner related to any funding source, and so there may be some confusion, and I would just simply suggest that you strike that whereas.
It's more of keeping track of the
Simply to
amounts.
keep track of costs. That's correct.
I'd like to introduce the resolution
With the addition.
with the addition, with the revisions
Right.
stated.
Councilmember Ibera.
Aye.
Councilmember Salazar.
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Medina.
Aye.
Mayor Ruane.
Aye.